Welcome to Wired In. This month, we're continuing our discussion about lighting. Tell me the difference between associations, buying programs, cooperatives, buying cooperatives, that sort of thing. So kind of give me the rundown of the overview, and then we can maybe get into each one a little bit deeper.
Well, what all of those things, and an association to me is the school association, or the in Texas it's the Texas Municipal League, or it's BOMA. But
or
those are
Better Business.
Those are organizations, associations that have like members that share that share practices. They share a lot of vendors. They share a lot of knowledge with each other.
They communicate
with
each other. So
that's just people doing business with people.
Networking,
yes.
Communicating.
And we're part of all those, and we participate in those. They do trade shows, those types of things. When you go back to you're talking about the buying groups or cooperative, a buying group tends to be hospital group. Or remember there's Yardi, or there's Avendra. Avendra is for the hospitality industry. Yardi is for commercial property people. And they actually go out and procure prices, services, all types of different things, electronic monitoring, accounting systems, and they market that to their members as a way to capture the spend so that they can see what they're spending, they can see what they're buying, and at a negotiated rate. So it's a savings in the end of the day instead of somebody going out and buying it on their own. A cooperative is for public entities. Anything like the GSA is probably the biggest cooperative. That federal government uses. Below that, there's Buy Board in Texas. There's ones in the Northeast.
Site Stuff.
No, Site Stuff is Yardi.
Site Stuff became Yardi.
Site Stuff became Yardi, and Yardi is for commercial properties. Joan Lane LaSalle, CBRE. Transwestern. So if you owned, like we talked earlier, if you decide you want to buy 4 big buildings throughout the country,
office
buildings, and you bought 10 million square feet of buildings, somebody's got to manage those. But you say, how do I know I'm getting bang for my buck? Then you join Yardi. And they have all this suite of products that they can provide to you to help you control your expenses and give you the accounting of how those expenses are done. Which is similar to what a vendor does in the hospitality end.
Gotcha.
It's also a little bit of what happens in the cooperatives, but the cooperatives throughout the country have a different thing because you're dealing with schools, cities, municipalities, counties, states, and nonprofits. They have to meet different legal requirements for what is legally able to be used. So those contracts are actually pre-vetted bids, where from anything from buses to police cars to janitorial supplies to lighting to labor to scoreboards, anything. And so once they do that, they vet those suppliers, and then they roll that out to whoever wants to use them throughout the country or the state, whatever, and they can buy from them without going out for bid if they so choose.
So
that's probably lengthy to say.
I guess so. So if I'm in a situation where legally I have to get 3 bids, or I have to, that's part of our vetting process. If I go through something like this, they've done that for me. They've done that ahead of time. So it's not only am I getting a better price, but it's more convenient for me to go through that buying program.
It is, because if you're a small city, a school district, a municipality, you don't have a lot of people, and you may have laws that say anything over 10,000 we have to go out for 3 bids. But we also have those. The big cities tend to do that, or the school districts. But then you have a client that says, I want to write a contract to you guys using these cooperative contracts. They're well within their legal right to do that, and we can perform the services, the installation services, and provide the lighting and the materials, the product, as part of that.
Now, are these mostly about product, or is service a part of these, or is service usually? How is that a part of? Is it the whole project, or is it just acquiring the pieces of the project?
It's certain projects. For example, on a lighting project, we can sell a particular lighting that we have on our contracts, a lighting brand, and then we actually have an installation rate. And we actually have an audit rate, so we
that's pre-negotiated.
It's pre-negotiated as part of the contract. It's typically a do not exceed price, but we can be anywhere below that, and we have to be competitive. So we can actually go perform all those services, and what makes it legitimate and what makes it legal is they have to report that through the cooperative.
So that's another big part of these is the accounting and the tracking of what gets bought through them, right?
Absolutely. Because just to go out and say, I did a project, you don't follow your laws of your state or your municipality or your school
codes
district codes if you just say, I go to one price. Typically, those people go out for 3 bids at a minimum. But it takes time, effort, money to do that. Whereas if you're using a cooperative, and let's say you did a job, quote, you did a bid, and 4 companies bid it. You were very happy with one that you chose. They did a great job for you. Oh, and they have a cooperative. You can continue to do business with those folks on the cooperative. You've now helped them with a standard. You're taking care of all those things. They don't have to have an engineer on staff doing that anymore. They may have to have an engineer bless the plans or bless the product, but they don't have to have designers. They save a lot of money doing that.
Okay.
Or putting out for bid. That'll cost money. And so instead, they put that money back into their school district or their city to do something else.
Now, you mentioned, I know some of these you can receive money back even from the savings, right? Depending on the project or the year?
Well, no, typically, all these things that we do the cooperatives are nonprofits.
Okay.
So they have people that help manage that and negotiate the pricing. So when they paid their expenses, whatever is left is rolled back to the stakeholders, which are the people that supported it in business. So you can actually get an incentive back based on, because at the end of the year, the nonprofit has to be 0. It's a nonprofit. So, and that, in a lot of ways, they can actually fund other items from the savings they get from that.
Gotcha. And that can be the percent and a half. It depends on.
Could be. It could be percent on what the different things are, but typically we see a point and a half is what we've been told.
I've heard people say that it's becoming, because there's less people doing some of the work in some of these areas.
Sure.
There's if you're in an area where there's less people doing work, you're not in a major metropolitan area, that some of these associations make it easier to do work. So why would it be easier to do work if you're in a less urban area, if you're going through one of these groups?
Because, okay, so you might be the energy manager, and you're also the person who sends the quotes out, and you're the purchasing agent, and you wear all these different hats. There's only so much time in the day to do all these things properly.
Right.
So if you already have a pre-vetted list, you can actually go out for bid on the cooperatives and to the people that are approved, and then you can choose from those people. It just makes your life a lot easier than having to go get your own architect, your own engineer, your own designer, and all put all that stuff together. You can have those people help you do that.